buddy.
Yeah, I think so too, right?
There we go.
So we had the plan, and oh yeah, there we're live. See, that's how easy it goes. So, good evening, everybody. Welcome back to Xylonite Nights, and tonight it's no remorse, no fear. The Terminator episode. With me tonight, as always the fourth, fifth episode, not much, is Tron Viper David McLeod. How you doing, bro?
How's it going, buddy?
Pretty good. How about you?
Good. Had some shit I had to take care of last minute, but besides that, doing pretty good.
You made it happen inside those 45 minutes you were here. That's pretty cool.
Right.
And for the first time tonight, hopefully not the last time, guest-wise, is my good friend Dan from the UK. How are you doing?
Hello, I'm fine. Yeah, I'm fine. I like this angle. You can't tell I'm not wearing any pants.
I've seen you before. You do.
Give the game away, why don't you?
Hey, we wouldn't spoil any of the fun.
It's a family-friendly show.
I would say no. I think we should at least put PG-13 on it, all right?
So I think we're allowed one chest punch then.
Yeah, something like that. So, I don't know. What did you guys watch? Is there something you watched last week, or what did you watch last? Maybe, I don't know, today or whatever.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and start. I watched Captain Marvel finally.
Okay.
It was cool. I enjoyed it. It was fun. You know, Tim, we talked about that in our first episode.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed it. Goose was my character. Goose made that movie for me.
Okay, dope. I mean, especially that. Dan, have you watched the movie? We don't want to spoil anything too hard for you.
Oh, that's right. You can go ahead and spoil it for me anyway. I'm just dropping in and out of these ones. I mean, I still haven't seen Infinity War, so yeah, I know. It's not like I'm not going to watch Captain Marvel because of all the crap going on around that. I probably just never would have gotten around to it anyway.
Okay.
So
Goose was.
I'm covering myself for the angry comments on this one. It's just I'm bad at going to the cinema.
Yeah, I maybe have met someone to go to the cinema, but that's in the early stages, so we will look at that. But
although, in all fairness, I probably will go and watch Shazam though, and watch the original Captain Marvel because I am looking forward to that one. That trailer was really funny.
Yeah, that's the original Captain Marvel for me too. That's also, I mean, it's okay.
Good old Fawcett Comics.
What did you say?
Good old Fawcett Comics.
Yeah, you know it.
Yes, unable to withstand a DC lawsuit.
I mean, I also like the shirts that are floating around where Captain Marvel and the DC version and the Marvel version are like.
Yeah.
I've seen the old Batman slapping Robin one redone with those two.
Oh, that I didn't see, but that should probably work pretty well too.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah, but Goose was awesome. I mean that scene where he just gobbles up everybody, and at the end of now.
Yeah.
That was pretty good. Yeah, cool. What did you think about the problem I pointed out, the musical part?
Yeah, that was pretty bad. I think like you said, Iron Man has Avengers has that theme, that theme tune that you'll never, it sticks in you. It sticks with you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it didn't have that theme, but I think I told you on Messenger or something. It had that that mid '90s soundtrack.
Yeah.
That totally I don't want to say filled the holes, but it definitely kept the story in line with the story beats. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's so. Anything else?
That's all I watched. I did finish the move though, so we are 100% in the new house.
Very good.
And we'll get the movie watching going back here soon this weekend probably.
Sounds good. Congrats. That was a quick one, man.
Yeah.
I mean, you said it that it's only 5 minutes down the road, so.
Yeah, well, we actually did like a prorate rent kind of thing with the old landlady.
Okay.
And we ended up staying there until the 15th, like our stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then we finished bringing everything over, so now we're all in the new house.
Very cool. That's so. That's very cool. I hate moving, so I'm really happy for you because like moving our stuff over here when I was moving it together with my girl was pretty horrible too. Like we did all the cardboard boxes and everything. We did by ourselves and small stuff, but all the furniture we had like this small moving company, and they were like a total charm. There were like 3 or 4 guys that were taking some money over the hour, and they said maybe we take 4 hours. They were done with everything. Like her household that was across the street from here, and mine going across the town, they were done in under 3 hours.
Right.
So I gave them a tip, I believe somewhere like $100, and said, guys, that was fucking awesome. You took care of everything great. You were a charm to work with, to talk with. Go eat something good, and then give the honey 100, and then they were off.
Right.
So that's always good. But okay, Dan, what did you watch?
As I've already told you, I'm crap at watching movies. At least you've also given the game why I'm allowed to fucking swear on this thing.
I mean, in general, what movies? Just in general, any movies you watch.
Yeah, again, I haven't actually watched anything for weeks. I'm trying to remember what the last thing I watched. Yeah, I didn't make it to see Battle Angel. I still haven't been to see Fighting with My Family yet.
Battle Angel is on my list also. Still,
yeah. I've just been listening to a lot of books on tapes because I've not really been home that much. So I finally got around to reading The Shining, which is obviously very different from the movie.
Yes, I read some differences.
Good movie. It's just a poor adaptation of source material, and I can understand Stephen King's problem with it because that seemed like a very personal work to him at the time.
Yeah.
And I'm about halfway through listening to Misery at the moment. I think the only thing I have watched was just 2 random episodes of the 1984 Transformers.
Oh.
My God, that is entertaining but dumb.
But that's always good. Also of course it is. Also Misery. Misery is also.
Yeah. About halfway through that one at the moment, so I will carry on with that one. But yeah, I'm bad. I buy movies and then I never watch them. There is a huge backlog, most of it still in its cellophane. So yeah, God, it's gonna bug me now what the last thing I actually watched was.
And I just see we got our first viewer. We got Sentinel Bay reviews in the house. That's our first viewer in the chat. Welcome.
Is that good?
Nice.
That is very good.
I'm new to
that's my German that's my German brother in arms, like for reviews and everything. Ta-da! Ta-da, he says. Very nice. Good to see you, man. So yeah, from my side, I last watched Pirates of the Caribbean. I think the original title is Dead Men Tell No Tales, with that undead Spaniard guy. The last one,
Javier Bardem.
Yeah, right.
Actually, that might have been the last film I watched. Was No Country for Old Men, and that was about a month ago.
So good in there too. So good. And
yes, actually.
Yeah, it is. It is, especially with that I don't know, with that high pressure thing.
Oh, the
let's just call it a compressor thingy.
The slaughterhouse bolt gun.
Yeah, right, bolt. Yeah, that's it. That's horrible. Like to the head, boom, out. I watched it the first time. I was like, damn, not fucking around. So, yeah, that's it. And totally different character in Pirates, and that aged quite well. That movie, I gotta say, pretty good, pretty good. And
after the second one.
The third one was too long, I gotta say. The second was okay.
Too long.
and the third one, I was in cinemas. Man, that was like the first time in 10 years that a movie in the cinemas had a break in between. That's how long that movie was. So
I haven't seen that one, Tim. The new one, the one Dead Men Tell No Tales.
Really?
I haven't seen that one. I didn't really enjoy the one prior to that.
Stranger Tides with Penelope Cruz.
The one after the initial trilogy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was okay, but I feel like those movies kind of ran their course, you know.
Yeah, I mean they tried to do a new trilogy because in the end happens something that sets up more movies. So you might want to watch it, but only might. So if you said you're fed up, you could end up not enjoying it. But
Yeah, I'll probably watch it, but just haven't got around to it yet.
It's too
Yeah.
much to try and keep up with these days. I don't know if everyone else finds that.
Yeah, that's the case. It's also with Marvel. If you're not someone like me that really enjoys watching it and also gets the newest steelbooks in, and you have time to watch it actually, which is currently a problem.
It's just kind of like overload. You got to read this book. You got to read this comic. You got to watch this movie. You got to play this video game. You got to listen to this new album, and
Yeah.
you've got to go to work or school.
Yes.
Or
Exactly.
it's
And
just
then
not-
you need to eat, and all of a sudden you have a cat on your chest, and then you need to sleep,
yes.
and then the cycle starts anew again, and then I don't know, Resident Evil 2 is around the corner, to take an example.
Well, I'm still playing Overwatch, so 42 days later.
Hey, whatever you enjoy.
That's just not how long I've had it for.
Hey, but whatever ticks your boxes. I mean, you said already, I might end up joining it. I actually might do that because whatever I saw of Overwatch looks really enjoyable.
It's
So
fun. If not, just watch the shorts. The shorts are great.
The shorts are pretty good.
Okay.
Yeah, I was not expected to get that hooked on it when I bought it. So. It cost me a fortune.
Hey, I mean, maybe when we're done with movies somewhere down the line, we can do Overwatch short movie episode. I don't know.
That'd be cool.
There's always a possibility. Otherwise, I watched Chips. They had those on Netflix, like the one with the Michael Pena. That was pretty fun. I gotta say, way different than the old series, but it was cool. And then actually Love, Death, and Robots, and that shit was the bomb. You guys seen that?
Someone mentioned it to me the other day, but
it's amazing. It's really simple: Love, Death, and Robots. It starts off with robots. It's mostly computer animated, but top notch. Ranges from cyber augmentation to stories with three robots that are friends in a post-apocalyptic world to a demon invasion in Russia during Stalingrad. It's all like in between 10 to 15 minutes episodes, 18 pieces, and I just binged it last Sunday front to back. I couldn't get out. I wanted to take photos and cook, and I said, fuck it, I'm gonna order in, and I was sucking that up, really.
See, I just can't binge. I get too antsy about doing other stuff.
Okay. No, when something is good, I end up being lazy, and I'm binging that. No chance whatsoever.
See, I liked Westworld, and I didn't make it past 4 episodes.
That's a good thing you said. I think I'm somewhere in the same vicinity. I love how it looks and how the feel and everything, but somewhere down the line it lost me. But I know I need to finish it.
See, it never lost me, and I love the original one with Yul Brynner. I used to watch that all the time growing up. And again, it's another prototype Terminator movie.
Yeah,
his role as the gunslinger is fantastic.
I got both movies here, Westworld and Future World, and they did actually age pretty well, I gotta say.
Yeah, I haven't seen Future World. I never heard good things about Future World, so I never ended up picking it up. But Westworld, I've watched so many times. It was weird at one point they were going to do a movie remake of Westworld with Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Oh, that would be something.
But it was rumored.
Okay. Well, maybe it was rumored, and then they said, "No, we're gonna do the Terminator."
Yeah. Well, I mean, this was after he'd already been the Terminator, so you hear all these rumors. You don't know how true they are. What got floated? What got shot down? What was never going to happen?
Yeah, I mean, it also goes like the same with video games. You have all these rumors and all these, I don't know, pre-production movies that are sitting somewhere in some shoebox in a shelf somewhere. Development hell, maybe never happening, and then maybe 5 years later it says, "Oh, that movie's coming back," but it's 180 degrees of what you were actually looking for, and it turns out shit. It's happening left and right. But otherwise, yeah, I would say movie news. Movie news is only one thing fitting to the episode. If anyone got something, chime in, or also if someone else is in the chat, because Sentinel Bay lost us for now. He has to take care of some other business, I think. The 6th Terminator movie by James Cameron and Tim Miller is now officially called Terminator: The Dark Years. I believe it's a reference to the small comic series. I believe it was the one that was in the desert, right? Dan, did you read that?
Mentioned in the first movie, it's Sarah, thank you for your courage through the dark years.
Also, that's also true.
It is a callback. It's I don't know if obscure callback's the right word. But see, it's because they've rewritten the speech a few times, but it is in the first film.
Yeah, it is. I think it's actually also a better callback than what they did with the T600 and T4. Like at first, in the first movie, it was mentioned covered in rubber skin, and in the fourth, it's only one rubber mask, and it's blasted to bits.
You only see the one though, so
yeah. No, you see a second later on too. You actually see three. You actually see three T600s. You see the first one. You see the second one when they are all lead to that facility, and you have that robotic arm over them looming, and you see like in this frame is in the lower right there's a T600 with a coat. So there's another one that also was released as an exclusive from Hot Toys.
Yeah, I mean they did say they spotted them easy, so it's like from a distance it looks convincing. I have less problem with that than the harvester that apparently is a ninja.
It sure is, because he just came out of nowhere. Such a huge towering thing, you wouldn't hear a step.
There's a T-Rex somewhere going bullshit.
I mean, you could. I mean, the good thing would be you always have a glass of water sitting there, and you could then make out a harvester. That would
have a box of carrots.
Yeah. But otherwise, movie news, I don't know. Did you guys hear anything, see anything, trailer, something, announcement?
Yeah, Stranger Things season 3.
Right. Good call. That looked pretty.
Yeah, it did look cool. I really enjoy that show. The 80s nods are awesome. You know, the music and the background decorations, you know, props, everything.
Oh, yes. Although I think by now they should be really wide way in the 90s, right? Like somewhere, I don't know. They started 1984, and now they look like something 16, 17. So it could be somewhere around 1991, 92, maybe.
It looks like the way the kids are aged looks like they're still like in high school, like maybe like freshman year high school.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Maybe something like that. But it looked really cool. A lot of references. We see like, I don't know, in the end, like a super or uber demogorgon, something like that. So we'll see how that turns out. Also, how they essentially also will build up how the Upside Down again returns, because it was pretty much beat the last time around. So, or maybe it's something new entirely.
Did you spot Ultra Magnus?
I read about it that he's in there, but I lost the point of the trailer actually.
Yeah, when the toys are all moving at the beginning, there's like a R2, Ultra Magnus.
The R2 I did spot, but I didn't the Ultra Magnus. But of course it's a custom Ultra Magnus because the original didn't roll.
Yeah.
But I think when this thing is done and it will actually be on the rollout, I think it will hit eBay, and then it will hit eBay hard.
Yeah.
I would say so. So I would say we get to the topic of the evening, which is the Terminator series. I know I got the reference or the quote. I got it from the first one, not the full one, because then the title would be, But I don't know. We take the guest of the hour as the first guy to tell us what is your favorite Terminator movie, and maybe what's your favorite about it and why.
I'm going to do the boring answer. It really depends what mood I'm on, switching between 1 and 2.
Okay.
Obviously, 2 is a great action movie. With the original being essentially more of a horror film, almost. Very well executed. Working on film noir, so they're a very good two halves of the same coin. I think it just depends what mood you happen to be in at the time. There's something very nice about the original Terminator's grittiness.
Absolutely.
From the film stock the lighting, and you can get a really good juxtaposition when you look at the original with the recreation in Genesis. Where it just seemed to be missing something. It was a bit too slick.
Yeah, it was. It tried to rebuild it really nice, but it was just, like you said, it was too polished.
Yeah, and you don't replace Bill Paxton with what looked like a fat singer from Green Day. It just didn't.
No. Oh my god, that was the worst recasting ever. Like, really.
I read him saying, "My sister would never forgive me if we put the tar track on his face." I'm thinking, no one gives a shit about your sister, okay? You're gonna get more complaints here about the fact you didn't have a Bill Paxton punk with tires on his face.
Exactly. I mean, especially also they rebuilt Arnold Schwarzenegger pretty much to perfection. Then they didn't even try to take the reference of Bill Paxton, which was dead at that point already. And maybe
just get some lookalikes. No one is expecting one for one because it's Bill Paxton and
Brian Thompson.
That's the one. Yeah, I was thinking it's the main bad guy from Cobra who scared me as a kid.
That's
the movie I want to direct. I want that director's cut of Cobra because apparently there's so much on the cutting room floor.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I would love to see that.
Again, I've forgotten this. The guy directed Drive and Ryan Gosling apparently have a really rough bootleg of that, and they use that unedited cut as inspiration when doing Drive.
Nicholas Winding Refn.
That's the one. That is the one. Yes.
Has a rough cut of the.
Apparently, he has a rough cut of Cobra. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I would love to see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Because I love Drive.
Yeah, Drive's great. Cobra's great. Only God Forgives is confusing.
It is, but it's I think it's not supposed to be really well understood. It's just supposed to look and sound good, and you make of it what you will, essentially.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. I still love the Neon Demon.
Neon Demon has a dope score too, I gotta say.
Yeah, they've all had those. But yeah, T1 and 2, I almost consider like a continuation of the same movie. They flow very well into each other. You can watch them back to back.
Absolutely.
You can definitely tell there's a singular vision that has run through them from James Cameron and William Wisher. And I still like to believe that William Wisher's cameo in T2 is still playing the cop from T1.
Oh yes, he is 100%. Of course.
I want to believe that that's why he looks shocked. Like, that's the guy who slammed me into a car.
I mean, wasn't it even, I don't know, like said officially that it is the same cop?
I've never seen anything said officially, but I may have missed it. Like I say, if you can find it, send it to me. I'd love to see if it's made official.
I will do. I will get to it tomorrow.
I just know it's William Wisher playing both of them.
Yeah, but I think it would work. First, it would work, and second, why would you be like the most shocked person in front of that window? You know, there's only this one explanation, and maybe
in all fairness, I'd be shocked if a huge hulking Austrian man dressed in leather was thrown through a window in front of me. It's not an everyday occurrence.
No, not quite. Although here in my vicinity, it could be, but that's another topic.
Either that, I was thinking, are they making Commando 2 in here? Because it's the same one.
But yeah, good call with T1 and 2. I think that pretty much.
It's a cop out, I know. That's just the others.
No, it's not.
There's no such thing as a cop out.
I like to go T1, T2, and the. Personally, I really like I think it's Malibu Comics, the Cybernetic Dawn and Nuclear Twilight comic are great. Because Nuclear Twilight, I think, adapts and expands on the deleted opening scene to T2.
Right.
Going from that part of the war to the end of the war. That's my preferred canon. If I'm not allowed that, I will definitely take the TV show over the movies.
Sarah Connor Chronicles was dope. That was great. Excellent.
I wish it didn't end like it did on that cliffhanger.
I still blame Joss Whedon.
It's rather unfortunate because that show was very good.
And it's like one hell of a cliffhanger to end on, and apparently it's just because they got fed up of getting angry letters whenever they cancelled a Joss Whedon anything.
Mhm.
So they thought, oh, we'll just cancel this and run Dollhouse a bit longer because we don't want to deal with this.
Yeah, essentially that was the case, and it's also sad because they really tried to also make a movie, and they were behind it. Even Lena Headey,
Yes.
and then it didn't get anything. It was really sad. It was sad.
Yeah.
It was so much potential.
Mhm.
Maybe not even a movie. Maybe not even a movie. Maybe also only an hour episode. You know, like a good ending. Like only 50 minutes longer than the usual. That could have wrapped up maybe everything potentially pretty good.
Tie
Mhm.
it all up.
So yeah, that was a sad point. I rewatched that not too long ago, and it holds up really well. Also the CGI, I really like that.
Yeah, the only bit that bugged me about that, which is amazing, really, is they kind of had Enrique turn traitor. That was the only bit.
Who did you mean?
You know, Enrique Salsa, the guy who runs the camp out in the desert.
Oh,
Mhm.
They have him sell them out, and it just seems so out of character.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was kind of rough.
I preferred they perhaps would have done something with the deleted scene where the 1000 shows up and kills him.
Yeah, right. I thought so too. That was totally out of character. Like in T2, they were like brother and sister from other mothers, like so tight and everything, so happy to see each other. And I don't know, it was like 2 episodes and maybe also small bits in the Sarah Connor Chronicles, and then he was killed off. I was like,
it just seemed odd for someone who'd been a desert survivalist to be living in a suburban house in the city.
Yeah, that was odd as well.
Well, one crazy ex-Green Beret, probably always a crazy ex-Green Beret. If you're still, you know, I know that line's meant to refer to him when he was Gant, but you know.
Yeah, but also that thing, like he's living in a desert and obviously totally off the grid. So there was like really no connection or even sense behind it whatsoever to make him a traitor.
Yeah, and so a guy like that, he's probably done some gnarly shit. He's probably not going to get a mortgage easily.
That would potentially also be it. But Dave, what would you say your favorite in it and why and so on?
1 and 2. That's right. It's not a cop out. 1 and 2 for sure. I mean, just quality wise, I mean, just look at that franchise, specifically the movies. Quality wise, 1 and 2 are, you know.
Yeah.
4 is a guilty pleasure. I enjoy watching 4. Me and
like
Tim,
I always, excuse me, like I always like to say, it's the best of the worst.
Yes, yeah. Out of compared to 3 and Genesis, 4, Salvation is definitely the better of the 3.
Yes.
You know, Tim, me and you have talked before about the vibe of the film, how it doesn't have that blue and gray future from 1 and 2. You know how we saw the future, and it had that, you know, that like brown, tan, you know, kind of orange kind of feel to it.
Yeah,
and it just stuff like with Marcus and all that, with the, you know, that whole like part of the storyline kind of getting added into the mix could just kind of throw it off for me. But I really did like some of the performances, though. You know, I thought that Bale was a pretty good John Connor.
I had a problem with him. Like when you think about how deep his acting skills and the characters he usually plays normally are, I always had the feeling like in 4 it still was Christian Bale and he had still the same kind of charisma, but there was some, I don't know, there's some one-dimensional factor to his playing in Salvation, if that makes any sense. That there was always this kind of underplay for me, that he was kind of maybe bummed out. Also, what I told you also during that whole thing with the dude that was stepping into his scenes and he was losing it and everything. Maybe he's just lost the motivation somewhere. But I think that was mirrored pretty well in that movie. That the production was pretty much a clusterfuck and he was fed up with it. So I don't know. It's not as
great character when he was shouting at Shane.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it's because in the other movies we don't really get to see John Connor as that leader, as that adult. You know, we see like flash scenes with him, you know, like in T2, but we never actually get to like see him fight and you know, command troops. And you know, I don't know, I think that part kind of like is what draws me to his performance, not really Christian Bale per se, just more like what the character was doing. I think was like the bright spot of that movie.
Okay. Seemed more like the John Connor we were expecting than the Nick Stahl John Connor we got in T3.
Oh, exactly. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
He always seemed a little bit weak. He needed someone to do something for him. He needed Kate Brewster to do stuff for him, or the Terminator to do stuff for him. He didn't really seem to stand on his own 2 feet at all.
And when I think about the Nick Stahl Terminator, he was John Connor. He was just a whiny bitch. That was not the John Connor. I mean, even the little kid at Eddie Furlong, that was a badass dude, you know. And then you have 3, and then he's like, yeah, I'm off the grid, and my mommy died, and he's back. Ow, what you doing? And he's like, he's pinching his cheeks or everything. He was like,
yeah, I don't blame Nick Stahl for that. I think that's the character we've written, because I mean, he's very good in Sin City as that yellow man.
yeah.
I mean, that guy sure can take a punch to the nuts.
That is true. That is true.
But yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't trust him to give me directions, let alone, you know, save the human race.
That's it. That's it. But I think. I mean, when we can look at those things at 2 ways. May it be Marcus Wright from T4 or the Nick Stahl John Connor. That there's always this way of looking at. Okay, of course it is what it's written like. When it's written weak, how will you play it strong? There's always this problem. But we can, of course, always think about it. Yeah, it's a little bit of a different timeline. There are subtle differences in the characters. In the end, it's just written wrong. And Jonathan Mostow just had the opportunity to do a Terminator film, and he didn't do the worst movie of all times. But when you think about 1 and 2, and you get 3, it's like the mother of all letdowns.
And so going back to what you said earlier about the color grade in the tinting, T3 had very little of that. It looked, I don't want to say flat, but you think a lot of these ones, T1 especially, a lot of it shot at night. It gives an atmosphere of it, and T3 starts like that, and then the rest of it's set in broad daylight, and I think it loses something in this very, I don't want to say harsh light, but it could just look like any other movie. I think a Terminator movie has a certain look about it. I mean, there's one bit I particularly like at the end of T2, just at the end of the steel mill, where the human side of the face is lit with the warm orange of the mill.
Beautiful.
Its robot, sort of the endoskeleton side, is lit with a blue light. It's very well done lighting. It means it's got a meaning. It's not just done for the sake of, oh yeah, that looks okay. It's emphasizing something on a more subconscious level.
Yeah, there's a concept behind it,
which T3 was missing. I mean,
absolutely.
It's always bugged me. It's like he crashes the helicopter, he jumps out, he's on fire, and he goes, "I'm back," and then leaps into action.
Yeah,
shouldn't you just leap straight into action?
Yeah, that is a good point.
Stopping too many times to do quickie one-liners.
Yeah, that's also the thing. That's also the thing why I really used another line for the title, because everybody's like "Hasta la vista, baby," and I'll be back, and I'm like, I can't listen to this anymore. It's the same line, the same quote over and over again, and it's just too much. It's run its course. It's milk dry. Call it whatever you want.
It's the franchise has kind of felt like that, to be honest. I mean, T3, it was T2 done worse.
Yeah.
And so I know, and Jonathan Mostow is a good director. I don't know if you've ever seen Breakdown with Kurt Russell.
Oh yeah, good.
That's a very good, very tense movie. He knows what he's doing, but
absolutely.
I think especially when you're working with someone like Schwarzenegger as well, his star power is going to overrule a lot of the decisions you want to make, and that's not on Schwarzenegger at all. But you get the feeling anyone who's followed Cameron is more of a hired gun than a director. He's going to be told what to shoot, whereas Cameron tells people what he's going to shoot.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's like you don't boss Cameron around from the sounds of it.
No, pretty much.
Which is why people poison his food.
Yeah, but that's essentially it. But with the color turns, that's a really good point. I also thought that to take that really used into, I don't know, abstraction word, T3 looked too normal.
Yeah.
There was nothing to it, like not one bit. I mean, that's
in a TV movie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
essentially, yes. I mean, you said the most obvious detail about T2 is that always this blue orange lighting, but it's just in general. There was always this, I think, blue undertone. Even when you think about him driving over the bridge looking for John Connor, there was everywhere this blue, and also the blue on the future war. And I don't know. I always thought also the blue is always also a tone for hope. You know, the future war had the blue tone as it was still hope for humanity, and the blue in the end also, of course, was blue for the machine, cold, and the orange was for the human, warm. But it also was kind of, even though it was machine side, there was still hope because this machine was actually learning the value of human life.
Yeah, it's all very subtle, and
Yes,
it allows your subconscious to pick up on it as well. It's been a while since I've been back and listened to the score again, but I do think it does start to grow more organic as it goes on. Like with the T800, the RoboCop score is very similar. It starts off very electronic and moves more orchestral as you regain humanity.
that's it.
I think there's a lot of those subtleties the later ones are missing or haven't grasped that they were going on, because Brad Fidell's scores are fantastic as well.
Absolutely.
I mean, I do miss the 80s cheese from T1 appearing in T2. I mean, Guns N' Roses are good, but, you know.
It's no 80s cheese. That's it. Yeah, that's true.
Let me real quick. There was a couple scenes I did like in T3. The crane chase scene with the big crane vehicle. I like that, and I like the it was basically a rehash of T2, but I like that little nod, and I like the part where the T800 goes and gets the casket full of the guns that Sarah stashed away in the cemetery. I like that. I like that scene too. I mean, overall, it's definitely the weakest. Well, actually, you know what? I don't know which one is more shit. That or Genesis.
Shit.
I mean, Genesis at least kind of got the future war sequence right. Kind of.
Yes, I will give it that. I mean, Genesis is one of those few movies, I think we're all emotionally invested in this franchise. I came out feeling genuinely depressed.
Yeah.
Really?
A lot of movie. Yeah, I felt rotten on the drive home. It's like, oh God. And it's like opening night first. Opening night of that movie. Okay. It wasn't even in the main screening room at my cinema.
Okay.
It's it's like being bumped down to 2 or 3. I can't remember what was in the main room. You're thinking, this is a Terminator movie, and people don't care enough for it to go and be on the big screen, or the biggest screen in the cinema. Obviously, after watching that, I can completely understand why. But
yeah, but it's horrible. It's really like it's run its course or run dry, something like that.
It's so familiar to everyone. You know what I mean? It's like, you see the alien too much, it stops being scary. You start rooting for Jason Voorhees after a couple of movies. You don't go to watch people survive Jason Voorhees. You go and see him carve people up. It's like, what's he going to use this time? It's like you're rooting for the killer. The characters become too familiar and perhaps two-dimensional. They've lost any nuance to be engaging.
Yeah, although I gotta give Jason, especially the Jason X incarnation, the favor of the doubt for actually inventing a new death scene, because he beat one girl with the other girl inside of that sleeping. What did you call it?
The
Sleeping bag.
Yeah, and that's using the bit from, is it 8? Where they
7.
Is it 7? But
Yeah.
the one where they had to cut it short, where he's just
Mm-hmm.
sleeping bag.
Okay.
That's a rehash.
Okay, I never watched it, but that was new to me. And I was sitting there, I was like, hey, that's funny as shit. Like, Dan,
Yeah.
and against the tree. I like that.
Yeah. Admittedly, because I didn't get into horror films until later on, I missed a lot of those. I didn't realize Jason X was meant to be a comedy.
Jason X sure is a comedy.
Okay, yeah. I like the liquid nitrogen face smash, but that was it. It's only on the second time around, it's like, oh, they're taking the piss. It's more enjoyable.
It really was.
Yeah, it just kind of feels like at times like T3, talk to the hand. You're kind of making fun of these characters now.
Yeah, that's the problem. That's why I hope for T6 to get more of the seriousness back.
Yeah, just to wipe out 3, 4, 5. Treat it with a bit of respect again, because T3 is very tonally weird.
Yes,
like you've gone from talk to the hand to a cop getting his chest punched in. Like and that's like the only real scene of full frontal blood and gore. Essentially, you have a few other bits of blood, but it's like it's so out of place, that one scene.
Yeah. That's also what I essentially would say to take my turn. Like, for me, the favorite is always T1. I was a long time really contemplating about it, and I came up with the fact that to me it's always Terminator 1, because the first Terminator is the truest form of that movie, because we have the grittiness, we have Arnold Schwarzenegger, we have him just going through people, zero fucks given. He's just relentless, unrelenting, without remorse, like Kyrie says, and he just goes through everyone he needs to get to his target. And I'm not one who cares much for blood or gore or anything, but that's what's actually explained. It absolutely will not stop until you are dead. And that is what James Cameron, with this small of a budget, has done 100% down to the point.
6 million at the time, which was a small budget.
Yeah, and he just nailed it. That's the point, and it was pretty much perfect. Like, the atmosphere was top notch. The music was also. I even think when you said, Dan, about T2 that it came a bit more organic in the end. I think in Terminator 1 the concept was for the music to become even more chaotic in the end, when more and more of his flesh is beaten down and everything, and then it's only the machine, and then it's way more staccato and chaotic, like all the hydraulic pistons that are working in and out to keep the machine moving. So that all those things, like you said, you come into it consciously, and also maybe you have watched it dozens of times, and then even then you see new stuff for you, because there's so much little nuances in the movie that you can't pick up from the first few times you watch it, maybe even the first half a dozen or something like that. So yeah, that's pretty much it for me, and that's I think the music from 1 and 2 is probably my favorite. Funnily though, what do you say?
I was going to say the first one. It's a very relentless film.
Yes.
Right? There's not a lot of fat on it. There's not a lot of breaks in it. There isn't that T2 break where they all go off to the camp. The movie kind of puts the brakes on for 20 minutes.
Yes.
So with T1, once it's going, it keeps going. I think going back to familiarity, you'd not seen anything like that before. Whereas normally it was your killer in a hockey mask, or or your Captain Kirk mask, and it's like in this one, as I said, well, it's kind of the mask is inside the man almost, and a lot of those special effects still hold up very well.
Oh man, I'm a total fan of the practical effects. Like, when you still look at Arnold Schwarzenegger, the puppet inside the tanker. When he moves and the animatronic eyes go left and right, and you see the teeth inside of his skull and everything, I still get chills when I only think about it. And like, a really good sculpt of that. I mean, the Hot Toys one they did, that is good, but it was washed down, almost like the Genesis version. You know, it was a little bit too streamlined. The sculpt, it was good. You could see the teeth in there, but you know, you see repaints on the interwebs where people like roughed it up and did a little more dirt to it and more chunky blood on the sides of the head and everything. I even custom my Terminator to have it more look like he was really dragged over, I don't know, a few yards by that truck and have the clothes ripped up and everything. But I don't know. There's something like some figures and also some merchandise is just missing this certain grit. I don't know. It's just weird. It's just really weird. And I even think I did a transition into the next topic. No, it's the second after one, but we can skip it either way.
There's one thing with the original Terminator as well, which is never picked up on the sequels. He must fucking stink. Seriously.
Yeah.
It's like, hey buddy, have you got a dead cat in there? And I know the novels go into the flesh is necrotizing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, every sequel, he's getting shot up with his exposed flesh. He must stink.
Yeah, but the thing is,
Infiltrate, just like, what's that?
and then he comes around the corner,
Yeah,
totally shut up.
Fuck,
But-
smells you coming.
But the thing is, in all those other movies, there wasn't enough time for him to stink. Like in T1, I think the duration from him actually picking out his eye and everything to actually ending the movie and being burned down, I think that was way longer than essentially, let's say, Terminator 2, like when he was leaving Cyberdyne through the doors and got into the steel mill. That was only a few minutes. But I think a Terminator 1, when he was having his eye put out and everything, I would actually think that those were a few days, which is why it was rotten and stinking and everything.
I think T2 kind of gets away with it because you do see them patching him up and asking if he'll heal.
That's true.
I'm guessing they thought of that and that was their workaround.
When they left Pescadero.
Yeah.
And yeah.
But the others, he's just getting shot up. There's no maintenance being done on here. Because I mean, what's it like in Genesis where he's regrowing the skin on his arm? It's like,
yeah, that's a little bit rough. I mean, I can on Genesis, I don't have the problem with the whole term "old not obsolete" because, of course, when the skin sweats and degrades and everything, it also gets older. So if the skin is maintained and everything and gets, maybe, I don't know, he's creaming himself every morning, like
taking a shower.
like the good Terminator, yeah, he is, you know. I gotta get my skin smooth and everything, and then all of a sudden it's 2017 and he looks totally fresh, only gray hair. I can get behind the fact that the skin is fresh but just old. But I mean, of course, it's just the course of them trying to keep Arnold Schwarzenegger as long as possible inside this movie series.
I mean, I don't begrudge that because I mean, Salvation showed people want Arnie.
Yeah.
Not waxy CGI Arnie. They want waxy real life Arnie.
That's it.
I mean, you can understand why it's like, well, get a close up of this now. Shoot his face off.
Yeah.
I mean, the CGI on that, the CGI on that was okay from that one angle when he punches him with the back of the gun and he turns around and he's doing his special glare. That looked like Arnold Schwarzenegger, all right. That was perfect. But the portion before, where he's blasting him in the chest and he looks up, that looked nothing like Schwarzenegger.
Yeah.
I don't know how the CGI could at one point look so good, and a few moments ago it looked so bad.
Fighting as well, and you know.
Yeah, I don't know. It was
doesn't allow them to get away with as much as they'd like to, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so too. I think you could say that. But what was your first experience to take the step bluntly into the next topic? Like, did you only watch a movie like Terminator 1 or 2? You needed to pedal back, or I don't know. Was there something special, or?
But I personally, I think I watched the first Terminator when I was 6.
Damn.
Nice parenting. Thanks, guys. It was on a 2-pack, a big VHS copy of 2-pack of the Terminator and the Running Man.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it scared the shit out of me, which is probably still why I liked it now.
Mm-hmm.
I think this was a little bit before T2 was just coming out, so I was excited enough for T2 to come out. It's a lot of twos. So I was aware of it. So I've been 8 when, 8 when T2 out. So yeah, I remember seeing the adverts for it at the cinema. Obviously, I had to wait until it came out on video before I could watch it. I remember the making of Terminator 2. Oh, my TV just switched on. Making of Terminator 2 on TV, which I know then got released on a VHS as well.
Uh-huh.
It's just one of those movies as a kid. You watch the same stuff over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and obviously it's, going back to the 80s, 90s, it wasn't a constant stream of, over here we had 4 channels, that and whatever you taped off the telly or happened to have at home, that was it. You did
pretty much the same over here.
You did watch the same things over and over again, and just enjoyed it a hell of a lot. Obviously, it's sure for a lot of us, Arnie was our hero as a kid, even though in this one he was the bad guy.
The anti-hero, probably.
Yeah, it's just like, you're watching Terminator and Running Man and Commando and all that good stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of always the same character, but on the other side, it kind of was still kind of versatile. So
the first Terminator, is that what you thought of him as his character, as opposed to, like I said, I don't know if you watch Commando, it was never really John Mate. It's Arnie off on another adventure.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's it. But Dave, how about you?
Let me see. I saw T2 in the theaters with my parents. Over here, it was big time advertising. The big blockbuster that it became. It was promoted like that way over here.
Mm-hmm.
We had the commercials with the Kenner toy line, and just Assault, always commercials for previews and merchandise. So it was a pretty big deal over here. So that I saw that with my parents. I was, let's see, I was 6, 7.
We saw those movies early. Damn.
Yeah, I think that was a thing with with growing up in the 80s. I think it was a thing. Parents were like,
I think children back in the day weren't as washed down. I think that's just it.
For sure.
We were just raised differently. We can take a punch. May it be physical or psychological.
I think it was the same Adam. This is the same decade that gave us Rambo the cartoon series. I mean, you wouldn't see it now. So I think there was a lot of advertising of more adult properties to kids. But I think that's the start of that blurring of the line between, this is an adult movie, this is your Terminator, and this is your kids' cartoon show, this is Transformers. Yeah. Now it's all kind of met in the middle with this PG-13.
That's true.
You got your, I mean, you had your RoboCop cartoon series and your RoboCop movie.
Yeah,
it shouldn't have been watching RoboCop, but they were doing it anyway. So
yeah, but I think I like that. I think that was smart back in the day, because you were bringing this back to children, and they would watch it later on when they were old enough. Because, I mean, to me it was the same. I watched the first Terminator, I believe was 7 or 8. I was with my parents over a whole nother town, like somewhere further up in the north, and they had the Terminator on, and I was supposed to go in bed after he already surgery on his eye and his arm, and I went to bed when he crashed in the police department. So
best bit.
it was a bunk bed, and I was lying on the bed, and I was looking out the window. It was summer. It was so hot. And I look out the window, and there's another house, only the corner of a house, and there's this garland spanning from the house over to a pole. And I'm not shitting you guys. This happened, real life. Every bulb on this garland was broken, except for one little red bulb near the corner of the house. This really happened. So 7-year-old me just saw a person picking out his own eye to seeing a cybernetic red eye below that. He goes to bed and he sees a red light in the dark staring at him. So that night was done for, and so was I, and there was my love for Terminator. So, and this really happened. I'm not making that shit up.
It's funny how your mind does that. I had that after I went to The Witches, the movie based on the Roald Dahl book.
Okay.
If you ever want to scare the shit out of some kids, make them watch that.
Really?
Yeah. Have you not seen it?
I don't know. Is it with Barbara Streisand?
No. It's Angelica Houston.
Oh, that one where they turn the children into mice.
Mice, yeah. It's like
that's pretty scary for children. I could see that, especially when they start losing it on that banquet and just really start trampling on all those little mice.
Yeah. And that Grand High Witch makeup, that is something else.
Oh yeah, Angelica Houston looks so creepy when she's starting to transform and she's like totally nosing up but still looking human and horrible.
Yeah, that's body horror for kids.
I think so too. But I think nowadays you could pretty much have witches running besides brain dead, and nobody pretty much would tell the difference.
Yeah,
they look pretty similar. I would say, like effect wise, like what Sam Raimi back then did. I think that would work. But since we're on makeup and so on, what did you say about collectibles, Terminator wise? Do you enjoy any Terminator collectibles, Dan?
Oh, I can't stand them, which is why I have a load of them in my living room.
Okay, cool, very cool.
I got a couple of sideshow pieces. Probably my favorite is always going to be the Endo Skull, and that is the first one I got. That was the second release that Sideshow did with the Battle one.
Nice.
One of the other favorites is the Entebbe T800, the stage 4/4 makeup from the steel mill.
Got the same.
That is a beautiful piece.
I think it's still the best stage 4 sculpt out there.
Yeah.
Like collectible wise, there's even the DX13 doesn't even come close.
No, it's a beautiful piece. I've been very tempted by the Entebbe T1000.
Yeah, me too.
I don't have a place to put it, just because I think the T1000 is my favorite character.
Really?
Yeah, Robert Patrick used to scare the shit out of me as a kid.
He was perfect. That T1000. I love looking at that guy as a T1000. He was so great in that role.
Yeah, they both played their roles, and I'm kind of happy he's done with it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we'll be seeing come back. I don't think it can do anything, but perhaps tarnish what he did originally. No matter how good his performance is, and I'm sure he would do a great performance.
I think the only thing that would come out of it would be something like Sergeant Candy. You know. I mean, that was a goofy version to do it. They could do it better, but I don't think there's any need to show it. I mean, there are databases. Skynet scanned people and molded the skin after it. Done.
If you read the Nuclear Twilight comic, they do cover that. There's two at the end of those two T1000s, and they both copy the same Resistance soldier.
Yeah.
Like Robert Patrick, and one goes back to the Resistance to leave it as a cliffhanger, and then the other one goes back in time.
That's also where they took the idea for the Sarah Connor Chronicles with the second T1000.
And with the was it the other novels, the SM Sterling ones? I think it's.
I believe so.
The other one is like the Dieter von Rossbach being the model for the Schwarzenegger Terminator. Yeah.
Correct.
Well, from Military Files, which is why he looks like that. Yeah, and then they had the John Connor Chronicles books as well, which were not great, but I remember the last one actually being very good, actually being better than the SM Sterling closer. But it's been so long since I've read those, I can't talk about them with any immediate authority on that one.
Yeah, I actually cannot talk about that at all. I have like a really hard problem with books. I don't know. I just kind of can't really read books. It's not my type of media. It's weird.
The SM Sterling books are great. The John Connor Chronicles books, they're decent. They're not bad books. But I think because they were coming out at the same time as the Sterling ones, they weren't as good. And I do have the 2 T3 tie-in novels. I didn't get very far into the first one.
Mm-hmm.
I read through the Salvation prequel novel. I can't remember anything of it, so take that as my review.
That was also the same for me. Like I tried to get into the Salvation prequel comic, and it was only 1 issue released, and I believe it was cancelled.
Yeah, I've not read those. I like the Dark Horse ones that got released in the omnibus sets. Those are good. Yeah. Tempest, I think Endgame was one of theirs. One Shot is a great one with a female Terminator. That's beautifully painted.
Yeah.
In the original version, there is a pop-up in there, which is very cool.
Oh, cool. I didn't know that.
If I had it on hand, I'd show you. But you open it up, there's the female Terminator basically launching her bike over a bunch of cop cars.
Cool.
While shooting down at them at the same time.
Nice.
Yeah.
I didn't know that, but there are a lot of things. So it's also like the Transformers series. There's so much stuff in the lore, like expanded stuff where they could really take things from, and they seem to pedal back a little, like I said with Dog Years. Maybe it's also only a hunch. Maybe they are just taking the line from the first Terminator, but I hope they take something from the comic series because I enjoyed them when they were released in Germany. So
the comics kind of took it in a different direction. I find aside from Salvation, the Terminator series had a nasty habit of repeating itself a lot.
Yeah, that's true.
It's because T1 and T2 they hit a lot of the same beats. There's enough difference, and T3 hits a lot of the same beats as T2.
Yes.
And Genesis hits several beats from T1, including the entire opening scene almost.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I'd like to see it go back to being a bit more grounded because I don't believe a school bus is going to flip 5 times in the air. You know, it all gets a bit dumb. The first T1 and 2, it was one fantastic thing: time traveling robots. You suspend your disbelief there.
Yeah.
Everything else kind of has to hang a bit plausibly off that.
Yeah.
So I'm already suspending my disbelief on this one thing.
Yeah.
Don't try and ask me to stretch it out a bit more.
Yeah,
Don't
that's
have the Terminator in a police cell while you play Bad Boys. Fuck off.
Yeah, but that's a good point. It's also with the strength of the Terminator. Like in the first 2, it was always okay. Those are hydraulic pistons. This thing can take a punch and it can put out one too. So there's power behind it. You saw that because in the first it was going through that thick steel door, but it needed power to do it several times going in there before it was through. Normal person could have done one thing whatsoever. But in Terminator 3, he was doing a casket on one arm and then holding up, I don't know, like it was like a 3 foot or 4 foot thick glass door with one arm. I mean, even if it was standing up here and here's the ground, it would have been crunched. It was like
he was crushing the hydraulic press in the first one. That's going to have less psi than a blast door, especially trying to protect the president.
Yeah, but that's another thing. The in T1 the hydraulic press was on top of its head. There was no chance it could have turned around and actually started pushing it up because it was too small space. But in T3 there was so much space and there was one arm going in between. It should have been
yeah, it's. I mean, I know they get around. Well, this one's the T850. It's a slightly different model.
Yeah.
Which raises its own questions, like why would you design an infiltrator model when you could just send something in and blow it, blow up that large?
Essentially.
But why would you go to all that effort? 'Cause like T2 had, and they show up in the arcade game as well, the Silverfish. Why why not stick that power core on a tiny little Terminator remote control car and just drive it into the base? Why go to all that extra effort?
Yeah, that's a good point. But it's a story written. That's essentially the thing. But that's I don't know. There's a lot of if and whens with such movies. I mean, the first one and the second, like you also said, really had just a vision. There was a vision by James Cameron. Maybe it be a feverish nightmare he had. That's how he said it. He came up with the idea and he wrote everything from it. But it worked.
And not that stack of Harlan Ellison books on his bedside table.
Yeah, I always thought too, man, what did that guy ingest to have such a dream?
Probably whatever he ate when making Piranha 2.
Yeah, he said that's pretty much what got it to him.
Fish, please.
I mean that movie is a mess. That movie is a mess.
Piranha 2. I've seen the 3D remakes. They're entertaining. If you want a 3D movie that makes the most of your 3D ticket, just watch Piranha 2.
I don't know. I don't want 3D so hard that I watch Piranha 2 3D. Not happening.
Can't watch T2 3D anymore. Arc 1, not the movie version.
The only thing I'm happy about having watched T2 3D because it enabled me to have from 3 bucket list movies I wanted to watch in cinemas cut down to 1 because I saw T1 when it was released in a very limited release with Genesis. I watched T2 as 3D, so I got these 2 down. Now the only thing missing is RoboCop, and then I have my 3 favorite movies.
I meant the theme park version.
I would love to see that, but I guess it will never happen.
Well, it looks like you're booking a trip to Japan.
Not anytime soon. I suppose that's an interesting topic. I think the next trip I'm taking, right, Dave? It's going to Washington or Reston. But that's another topic. But yeah, I don't know. I think I may go into traveling. It's interesting. But okay, Dave, what about you? Any Terminator collectibles?
Yeah, actually, not nothing fancy like sideshow pieces, but I have a few of the NECA pieces. I have the Tech Noir from T1.
Nice.
The T800. It's actually got a real chain looped under the shoulder.
Cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's actually got a real chain. The sculpt is really good on it, and he's got the he's got the Uzi and the long slide with the Uzi 9mm and the 45 long slide with laser sighting.
Nice.
That's
and
a cool
and the phase plasma rifle in the 40-watt range.
Yeah, no, he doesn't. Well, it's just what you see, buddy. Just what you see. Yeah. Let me see. I got a handful of the Kenner figures from when I was a kid.
Oh, nice.
The some of those
shirts.
I've got the my favorite one is the one with the white tank top. That with the torso blows off. Yeah.
Do you have the bio flesh regenerator?
No, I do not. But my buddy, my friend had it. My buddy had it.
That thing is a glorious playset. Bio flesh regenerator.
Peel the skin off.
Yeah.
I mean, I love that they did this from the teaser trailer, and you can actually buy that fucking generator and press it around the endoskeleton. Glorious.
I have a lot actually of the Dark Horse comics. I have the Terminator vs. RoboCop, Frank Miller.
It's a good one.
That's a great series.
Yeah, I need that. I need those NECAs. That like the RoboCop Terminator
Yeah,
and the Dogminator.
the Robo Dog. Yeah, Turbo Dog.
Franks, I've not gone insane yet. Period of writing.
And I have some of the later Dark Horse stuff. I think they did like a series called 1984.
Nice.
Does that ring a bell with either one of y'all?
Yeah, I read those. They actually brought out an omnibus too, 1984 to 2029, the full.
Yeah. That actually is a pretty good series.
Yeah, it's great. It's really great. I love that. I sucked that up. Great.
Yeah. And I got another couple issues from. I think it was it was before T3, so I think it was like 98 or 99. I don't remember the name of the series. I just remember there was like in a desert and there was some kind of train.
That's the Dark Years.
Is that it? Okay.
That's the Dark Years. That's from Dark Horse.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was definitely dark. I've got one issue from that series.
Yeah, I had the whole one. It actually had a release in Germany.
Okay.
Like that was really rare, and not in a comic book store because we didn't had any. But it was actually only in a newspaper stand in our main train station.
Mm-hmm.
So,
has anyone read Superman versus the Terminator?
Yes.
It's shit, isn't it?
It pretty much is, yeah. I mean, like more Terminators coming in with more upgrades, like force fields and flight generators and
what the fuck?
Yeah, they were. Superman was in the future with Steel, and Supergirl and Superboy were in the past with Sarah Connor and John Connor, and those T-800s were only flying in. Where everywhere were like those time bulbs, and they were coming in, like I said, stronger endoskeletons, force fields, flight generators, every kind of shit. And Supergirl and Supergirl were only
unless it has RoboCop in.
Yeah. Supergirl and Super were only squeezing them down like cans and throwing them away, but those things kept on coming and crazy. And oh yeah, in the future, Steel was old and the leader of the Resistance. So there was Superman versus the Terminator in.
There was Alien versus Predator versus Terminator, which was also very good.
I remember that.
It was drawn very well, but the story in itself. I mean, the Chrono Terminator was a nice idea. The whole
actual Terminators, then, though.
Yeah,
they were called Terminator. There was no Endo, no T-1000. It was just like Alien versus Predator versus Robot.
Yeah, or more correctly said, Aliens versus Predator versus those hybrids.
Yeah. And it was set in the Alien Resurrection timeline, so fuck that.
Yeah, that's another thing. That's another thing. But like I said, there was this Chrono Terminator that was actually creating those hybrids, and that was the one Terminator that was in there. But I think it was
at the end on all the covers, but it doesn't appear in the book.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Was it Painkiller Jane versus the Terminator, which I don't even remember reading. I have it.
I looked it up a bit, and I thought what I saw I liked, but I didn't read it. So I don't know. There are so much obscure crossovers. Also the Batman Predator, Batman Terminator, Batman Aliens, Superman Aliens. Like
Batman Predator and Batman Aliens are pretty decent, to be honest. They never were Terminator though.
I have a general problem with crossover. It's like, oh yeah, we got those two franchises. We have to cross them over. Like,
if you can do it organically, like RoboCop versus Terminator, they found a thread. Batman versus Predator, they found a thread. Batman Aliens, they found a thread. It's quite funny because the opening chapter appears in the Aliens Dark Horse omnibus, and then they removed the rest of it because they couldn't use the Batman stuff. It's very strange. But yeah, if you can find an organic reason for these two characters to coexist, you can make it work. But a lot of the time, it's like there's no reason for Superman and the Terminator to coexist.
I gotta say what was organic was actually Superman Aliens. That was actually together with Superman Metropolis, like really where they crossed over the story of Fritz Lang's Metropolis with Superman. Those two crossovers were actually very good, and Superman Aliens especially, because they came up with that whole idea that Krypton was still alive. There was a satellite crashing on Earth. Superman actually found out it wasn't Krypton, but an old city that was blasting away during that whole evacuation process, and it was Argo City.
Another one.
Another one, essentially where Supergirl was found. So he travels there, and he sees, okay,
Yeah.
it was not due to the apocalypse of Rao and everything, but it was actually due to the aliens. And then there's this girl where everybody thinks, okay, that's Supergirl, but it wasn't actually Kryptonians. It was a city of a planet that was actually, I don't know, like referencing, honoring Kryptonians. So and it ends on a cliffhanger, a good cliffhanger. And I like the scene where Superman is about to die due to the chest burster, but he's in the vicinity of the sun already, and he's starting to get stronger, and so the alien can't get out, and he crushes the alien inside himself and regurgitates it. So that was a cool scene. So that was kind of organic.
If you can do it organic, like let's say Batman versus Predator is great. Don't bother with 2 or 3.
Okay, yeah, I think I read one. But I don't know about the others.
The first one's good. I think it won an Eisner Award as well.
But I mean, the organic outcome also to pedal back to Alien, Predator, Terminator was all sci-fi of the 80s. That was the outcome.
That's but you got to find a reason for them to come together.
Yeah.
Alien versus Predator works well together anyway. Which is been proven it works in comic books, perhaps not so well on the movie screen.
I could not see any of this work any way, shape, or form on film whatsoever. Like there's
the stuff was there, that first comic.
Yeah, but there was too much stuff to pedal back to, like too much to explain. Like why do those work together? And if you're not a fan and you're not really invested in it, or let's call it established, there's not really much sense to it. Like essentially going back to the very beginning of our conversation here with the MCU, when you go into the movie nowadays, you see flashbacks and post-credit scenes where you think, okay, what do I have to rewatch now? And then you look up Wikipedia, and then you have like this timeline, and I have to watch 10 years of movies to know what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
So there's really a lot.
I don't always want to research everything I'm going to go and watch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, the good thing is YouTube nowadays had come to grips with itself. Like in the other countries, in Germany, we're currently facing a little bit of a crisis with Article 13. You may want to read into that. But
nothing a good VPN can't sort out.
Yes, if there would be one. But on the other side, the Brexit is now pushed another few months again, so they don't getting any hang of that too. So
yes. What a fucking clusterfuck.
Yeah, that is a clusterfuck.
I voted by the way. So.
I don't know who in their right mind would actually vote for that, but that's
you've answered your own question there. Anyone in their right mind?
Yeah, the answer lies in the question. Yeah, that's it. But yeah, collectible wise for myself, there's not much to tell. I'm a huge Terminator nut. I have a few NECA pieces, a T2 3D in what is it, in video game appearance. Also the endoskeleton with that I don't know, with that turret like Gatling.
Mm-hmm.
I have the Techno-Art Terminator. I have the Techno-Art Terminator by Hot Toys, where he's actually doing the surgery with a self-made table. I have 2 battle damage Terminators from the police shootout. One as a tanker, one as a police shootout. Almost a full line of T2. My first Terminators were actually T600s from Terminator Salvation. Still love those guys, and yeah, that's another topic. It's just sad to see what more possibilities there would be, like T1, Hot Toys, Kyle Reese, and the Terminator. But
yeah,
I don't know.
they did a TechCom, Carl Reese, but that was like really early days Hot Toys, because they did a TR100 as well, but obviously couldn't get the likeness right, so they did the McFarlane thing and fucked up the face.
Yeah, they got the likeness right, but they didn't get the approval. So because you got the pizza face on the Hot Toys, and you also got a pizza face from McFarlane.
Yes, although if you got the original run of NECA T2 figures, happened to be sculpted by the same guy, and they were designed in a way that you could pop the head off the NECA figure and fix that old McFarlane one.
Yeah, I know what you mean. You mean Tankman from Sideshow Collectibles.
I believe so. I haven't been on the Sideshow Freaks forum for a long time.
Yeah, I just was on it today.
And my battery is being beasted. I've only got 17% left.
Yeah, we're nearing the end. But yeah, that was.
I'm trying to hurry up and just say, if I go dark, that's why the battery went.
But yeah, that was. But that was actually Tankman. And he's I think he was.
Did he do the NECA Alien, the quarter scale one too?
I don't know. That I don't know. I like that. That's what I meant to say. I think he's been pretty much inactive on the boards ever since too. I think also around the time when the NECA Terminators rolled out, and then they started to milk it with the Kenner and everything. So I think around that time he turned inactive.
Audience for that stuff. No one's forcing people to buy it. It's kind of neat. I would love to see a clean version, that pencil illustrated Schwarzenegger down the middle.
Oh,
it's weird. That's a lovely piece. It's weird. I don't think the Terminator series has ever had a truly great poster.
No, I think essentially the best that you can get are the Mondo ones.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what it is about it. I mean, the first one is probably the most iconic of the posters, and I'd say it's probably the best. The one with the red laser lights,
and it oozes of 80s cheese.
yeah,
it does.
But I'd say, I don't know. There's never really been an official Terminator poster that I'd really want to put on my wall, bar that first one.
Yeah, I got the first and the second poster on my wall in a frame and everything, but that's it. But otherwise, really the Mondo. If they would do the Mondo, the propaganda style for T2, like maybe like in the style of the Tom Whalen Terminator Transformers posters, which they did in metallic.
Yeah,
I would probably get that. That would be a sweet deal.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a huge fan of this current trend in movie posters where a movie has like 20 different posters. Everyone that has a poster. I don't quite see the need for that.
That, and also that trend of you only have like cropped character pictures as a PNG, and you just put it in a picture and align them, and then put a background behind it, and maybe some lens flare and the logo and the credits. And that's essentially it. That's why Avengers: Age of Ultron had this huge shitstorm for that poster, because you just saw.
I don't know how well this is going to show up.
You saw Cap and Iron Man, and they weren't even in the same shot.
Can you see that from the laser disc? I really like that as a poster with Patrick there in the background.
Yeah, I got that one too.
Different poster, and also the nice thing where they actually get all the actors in and shoot them together, as opposed to comp them later.
Yeah, that's how you actually do it. That's also why I thought. I mean, Marvel did the whole shoot, like a real shoot, where they had everyone together for the 10-year anniversary. I mean, you can get everyone together. Why not do it for a poster?
I can't understand.
Yeah, same as me.
I think the art of theatrical posters was dead. Like we used to have the Joe Jusko and the Drew Struzan paintings, fantastic art, and it's gone.
Yeah,
pretty much.
It's either just a logo or like like Tim said, just a bunch of PNGs slapped together. So
I didn't realize that original RoboCop poster was a painting.
Yeah, we were talking about that.
I've always assumed that was a photo.
I didn't do quite. I could actually have seen this being a photo and then composed with a painting, maybe also a matte painting. I don't know, but that's a full on painting. What you showed me the link, and then that it's also it was available limited now as a metallic print.
Yeah, I just like sending you stuff because I know you're not going to be able to buy it and you'll moan at me. I can't. I'm skint.
I can't. I'm broke.
Yeah.
Don't. No, but that's beautiful.
Special purchase.
I mean, you could always just send me stuff, and when I'm fluid, I will just send you the money. You know, I'm honest. You would get it.
Yeah, I'm. That's the problem. I'm skint too.
Okay, there's that problem. Dave, you maybe mind chiming in? You sending me stuff, and then you get the money. Let me think of that though.
I think I'll keep my Storm collectibles, Scorpion and Sub-Zero.
What?
I'm playing, buddy.
That's not fair. Not cool. But guys, I would say on that note, I think if you don't have anything else, I would say we pretty much can close it up for tonight, right?
Well, my battery is going to agree with that. I'm at 12% now. I have an auction.
Yeah. Hey, anything you want to add?
Man, I love these movies. You know, especially 1 and 2.
I think that's pretty much the course for tonight. I think we are fans of the first two, and the others have nice sequences and good parts and maybe also nice scenes, but it's not really the same essence of the other movies.
Exactly.
It got better than I thought. I thought this was going to be like just me ragging on Genesis for an hour, which I'd still be up for.
I mean, we always could have done it because it's our podcast. We can do whatever the fuck we like. So if we want to scream into the microphone, "Get us a sucks" for an hour, we could have done it.
We shit on Genesis.
I could also rename it. This is not Xylonite Nights. This is an hour while we shit on Genesis. Could also be it. But of course, I'm happy that it was a rather, let's call it a professional talk. So, Dan, thank you very much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you for sure.
Maybe in the future. And Dave, as always, thanks to you too, buddy. I want to miss you. So with this, I don't know what we're doing next week, but we are coming with a nice topic. We have so many movies to talk about. Maybe we will go full on retro because we were now with Terminator, and I think we can even go a little bit further in time. What did you say?
Aliens.
Aliens would be too, yeah, but we'll decide shortly. So, people, for this now, we would say, I think we call it a night for tonight. So our contact details, I would say we keep to the description. What do you say, Dave? Everybody knows where to find us for now, right?
Yeah,
I would say so. But then, do you want to maybe share where people can look you up if you want to be looked up?
You can contact Tim and he'll pass it on.
That does it, I would say. So, for tonight, as always, I would say, have a good night. Have a nice weekend. Good fight. Good night.
Good night.
Night.